Hello guys, welcome to another trader interview. Today we have one of WokeFX's most trusted and empowered members, Mr. Elliot Hemmings. So if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, what is your current role at Woke?
So my name is Elliot. I'm head mentor at WokeFX. Trader as well, obviously. I started trading with Woke initially, sort of progressed into the mentorship role and taking that more sort of side of things on.
Done very well with it as well. So yeah, you've been trading for how long exactly?
I think it's over 3 years now.
You're one of WokeFX's first members.
Yeah.
You were in the Discord initially when it was like, I think it was like 30 quid a month, 50 quid a month, something like that. You came in after really just trying to find that thing that you wanted to do. What kind of made you start trading initially? Why was it trading?
It was more so about the feeling of being sort of lost, I think, in life a little bit and not having much direction. You know, all my school friends sort of went off and started doing their own thing. And at the time I was landscape. I was doing like odd jobs sort of thing, trying to keep going. And yeah, I mean, I think it was I needed structure. I think that was a very important thing for me. I'm a very driven person naturally, but I think if I don't have that structure behind me, I can get quite lost in terms of direction and what I'm doing. So I think in that regards, that was the main thing that started me.
Do you think it was a case of, obviously, like there's a lot of people that I'm sure you know that are doing different things, maybe going uni, maybe doing other side ventures, maybe they're in a different market completely. Yeah. You needed that direction, but was it literally just a case of maybe, like I said, that conversation after a football match that thought, well, I'm going to give trading a go because Rob's done it? Or was it like you kind of found a different route to it, if you get me?
I don't know. It's a weird, I don't think you really expect in any, time in your life that you expect you're going to get into something. I think it's kind of just happened. I had no interest, or I did economics at school, but that doesn't really help. So I had an interest in financial markets for quite some time, but I think generally it wasn't a case of I want to be a trader, I'm going to do it. It was more just like, it just sort of happened. It wasn't, I've always wanted to start a business and work for myself and not have that, not be working for someone else your whole life. I've always wanted to do that.
So you fell on trading because that's the most kind of freeing skill set, I guess. Yeah. And I think once with trading, once you land on the idea that you're going to give it a go, you kind of get into the rabbit hole and it's very hard to get out of it at that point. So I think I can see that that's kind of what happened when you got started. And the main thing of you is like you kind of stayed resilient for a long period of time. I think when you joined, you were in a much deeper kind of, I don't know, I feel like what you're saying, you're a much different spot to where you're in now, just psychologically as well. Yeah, 100%. So do you want to go into a bit around like where you were at before you joined Woke, like what you were doing, where you were at like mentally and kind of having that structure? How did that change your life?
Well, I think very similar to anyone, sort of younger people as well, when you're coming out of school and there's a lot of pressure to get your head down and stuck into something. So I always had that in the back of my mind, especially seeing all my friends going off and doing their own thing. And it wasn't, I felt like I could do a lot more. I've always wanted to do something for myself, and that's just how it transpired.
And one thing for you, like, because obviously you joined at around what age was it? Like 20?
I think it was just when I got back from Thailand, so it would have been around about 20, would have been 21.
2021, yeah. Okay. Obviously, like, you leave school probably seeing other people doing things or moving about, and a lot of people say like, oh, to be successful, to get anywhere in life, you have to give consistent effort at a skill set for a long period of time. So obviously starting at 21, you're kind of settling on the fact that this is now your life. Once I think you got into that rabbit hole, I could see you like fixate over it, which is kind of the mentality you need to have to make any skill set work, especially online in my beliefs at least. In terms of like your kind of work rate and pace to decision, because obviously I remember like when we first jumped on call, it was very much a case of like you were just all in straight away. Yeah. And I think that's one of the main reasons why you've managed to see a lot of success. And it's the same with a lot of the people that I see do really well, that I've taught, or even that I haven't taught, but I've seen other traders do really well. It's very much that pace to decision and making like going all in on the skill set.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think one reason as to why you were able to do so well, and you're in the position that you're in now, and the same with Woke, actually, you're kind of all in on mentoring and giving people the best experience possible. I think a lot of that is due to that psychology of not pondering on decisions and going
100%.
full throttle at whatever you do decide to do.
Yeah.
And obviously started for you, I think, in football days, like, because if you don't know Elliot's a very good footballer.
I was a good footballer.
Was a very good footballer. Obviously things held you back. Obviously you got, well, I mean, you can tell the cameras yourself. What was the process in your football career?
Well, I started very young. I've been playing football for a very long time. Then I had quite a bad, well, I made it quite, I was doing really well. Had teams watching me, and it was, it was all going very well. Had people, scouts and stuff like that. Usual story. Career ended by an injury. I'm sure you guys all know, but so I had quite a bad injury, and then I think that was a big confidence knocker for me, and it sent me down like the wrong path. I think because football for me was like that driving, keep going, really enjoy it and stuff like that. And then I had that injury, and it just it really knocked my confidence. Yeah,
strips you of what you were working for.
Yeah, then I started smoking, drinking, all of that sort of stuff that you do.
I know this is like a personal kind of question, etc., and it's a personal thing to go through. But obviously, I think everyone goes through periods where they kind of let loose, especially when you get out of school and you don't necessarily have a clear thing to focus on. I definitely went through a period where I was going out way too much. I was drinking, because since we've kind of been speaking and been a lot more closer as mates, like, to me, you've been a completely different person. Yeah. You don't really drink much at all. No. You don't really do anything that's kind of like ill-disciplined. You're very much a disciplined person. You're very disciplined in the gym. No. You're very disciplined with what you do. You're very disciplined just in your general lifestyle. I think that's massively helped your trading. What was your life before finding trading, in terms of like how much discipline did that experience give you?
So much. Like I came from a place of, I was very, very relaxed, like too relaxed to even do anything productive with my life. Very conflicted, and I'm sure lots of people will agree with this, very conflicted in the fact that I know I'm good for something and I can really, really do something well. Also conflicted with the fact that I'm lazy. I don't do anything. I sit at home. I go to work when I feel like it. Like, just really lazy, not in a good place mentally in terms of that. Lost a lot of weight. It was a pretty tough time mentally. And then, I think I've always said from the start, when I started trading, when I started learning, I wasn't thinking about the money. What was refreshing for me was the fact that I was now into a routine, and it started as soon as we had that call. I remember hanging up that call to you. I don't even think it was long. It was probably the easiest call you've ever had. It was like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. And I'd already been doing work up to it as well, getting ready for that. Baby pips, I don't know if you guys know, but started on baby pips, and then I sort of had a brainwave. I was like, oh shit, Rob does this. Like, I should get involved. And that was when I gave the call. And I think from that moment onwards, it's been I think there was a bit of an overlap. There was like a bit of a grey area, but generally, I think from that time, that decision, it's not a type 1 decision. It's very much a type 2 decision. You shouldn't have to think about it for too long.
It's kind of a position where I feel like it's, because I speak to a lot of people on the other end of that call. And like I said, generally, it's a case of when you're in the position of you set yourself up for the call to take action. Yeah. So when I had that call with you, like you said, you'd already gone through baby pips. You already did your due diligence on me. You already knew me as a person, so that probably helped a bit. But we weren't like ridiculously close. You just knew that I traded. And then when we had that call, I think there was a lot of shared values and a lot of like shared goals and what you wanted to achieve and what I wanted you to achieve and what I wanted the company to achieve. And I think that was really refreshing for me to see someone so ready to like give their all at the skill set. And I think ultimately that is what is needed for trading, because even though you had that mentality from the start, it wasn't a smooth journey, and it's still not a smooth journey. Trading's never just upwards trajectory. No. So in terms of when you were learning, when you were going through this process of development, where do you feel like you did things correctly, you did things wrong? What do you think maybe could have been maybe done better? What do you think was like what were the challenges that you went through, basically?
So ultimately, I think the foundations are the most important thing. I think if you miss the foundations and you it's like trying to build a skyscraper on wooden stilts. It's impossible. It will come down at some point. And you really have to understand that, like for me, I was quite lucky because I had this area of undisciplined, in my life. And from that perspective, I wasn't thinking about the money. So I didn't have that ultimate motivation to really get going as quickly as possible. And I think that helped me in a way because it was like a more of an everyday thing. And I was just, kept making progress every single day, slow progress, very slow progress. But ultimately seeing that change over time. One thing I think possibly I did wrong is, I've even said it then, like taking it really slow. I do think I jumped in at some points too quickly when I wasn't ready. Okay. And I mean, in terms of psychology, not technicals. I think it really takes the mindset. I think it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's so important to have that mindset.
And just to jump in a little bit on that, because you've obviously talked through like psychology and technicals as two separate things there.
Yeah.
So, because I speak to so many people that think because they know certain technicals on a market, or they know SMT, or they know AMD, or they know a different ICT concept, or they trade every indicator in the world, or they know rough TA. Do you think that makes a trader?
No.
I
think you have to have the tools, obviously, to do it. It's like anything. You have to have, like, if you want to be an electrician, you have to have a tool bag. But ultimately, it's about, especially with trading, because humans aren't really adapted to losing. We're very much like, to feel successful in this day and age is about winning. And to win, you need to not lose as many times as possible, really, isn't it? So that's the biggest change is being able to adapt to that losing mentality. Like, best loser wins. It is so true.
Exactly.
You just have to keep going. And
it sounds weird because the words you're saying there is loser mentality, and it's actually completely correct, because ultimately you're defining your losses as a trader, not on your wins. So any trader, I mean, I'm sure many of you guys watching this, I'm sure yourself, as I've done, you start a personal account, you start a funded account, or whatever you do, and you win your first trade and it's a 10R, or you do a ridiculous flip, or you do something that's just not really like trading, and you've made a massive win. So in hindsight, you're a big winner. But then if you lose, or you have one loss that completely wipes out those winnings and takes more, then you're not a good trader. You're judged on your losses, not your wins. So
for sure.
I completely agree on that losing psychology. It sounds backwards, but it's completely correct for trading. And just to move away from the difference between trading and psychology, with your kind of positioning. So right now, obviously you're a full-time trader. You've passed how much in capital?
$400K.
$400,000 in funded capital you've passed. Obviously achieved payouts as well. And then your process now is that you're a full-time trader, full-time mentor as well. Obviously 400K is no easy feat. Like, it took me years to get there as well. And it's obviously a very strong amount of capital, but what's the goals for you next? How much capital are you looking to achieve over the next few years?
This is a bit contradicting, because I said at the start, I'm not focused about money. And to be honest, I'm still not. I think I get real satisfaction from helping people. That's my main thing. Like, when that opportunity came up to, I know this is probably not what you're going to want to hear going away from the funding thing, but generally I've always loved teaching people. I've always loved seeing them progress. And that's where I get most fulfillment, I think. So to be in the position I'm in now, I've obviously got my trading, which is great. Seeing people progress, that honestly, there's no better feeling. Like, you could start a call with someone, and they've got absolutely no knowledge. I've got someone in mind. I won't mention names on camera, but started with absolutely no knowledge whatsoever, clean slate, and 6 months in, they're reading price action. It's crazy to see.
As if they've been trading for years.
Yeah, and to be there at 6 months, like, I would bite your arm off to be there in 6 months. And it's just that feeling of, because I feel like some people are like, oh, I don't want to teach you this amazing skill set, because I think it's more like an ego thing. Like, they don't want to actually give that knowledge. But if I find a way that's easy for me, I know it's going to be easy for someone else. And I think the fulfillment of being able to go through that with someone else is...
It's actually better than getting results for yourself.
100%.
I 100% agree. And the fact that, like, even for yourself, I remember we've had conversations, especially because you've, again, we're going to move on to like the technical and psychology side. Like technically, you've been able to train for a very long time.
Yeah.
But in terms of results, I remember us having conversations after a round of golf and talking about like, right, like funding is the goal here. So like, how are we going to approach funding? With your technical ability, what can you do? And I remember like a month later, you'd gotten your first 200K in funding or first few 50Ks in funding.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you like, that to me is better than me getting 500K in funding, because it shows that you're able to take what we spoke about and what you've already learned and properly apply it and actually make it life changing.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a credit to yourself, but then that feeling of getting results for others, I 100% agree. It's generally like one of the best feelings.
I think giving back is just so, it's a weird thing because you think you want it really badly and then you get it and it's almost a bit like,
like, what's next?
What's the next step?
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think people talk about that. Like, we strive. When really it's just about arriving, and you just arrive with it, and it happens. And then it's sort of,
you need to love the process more than you love the end goal.
100%, yeah. And that's what I found great satisfaction in was the process, because, like I said to you when I started, I was in a bad place, and I needed something to push me and to get me there. So I really enjoyed the process, going to the gym. Doing everything I needed to do, strict diet, drinking enough water, and it all sounds very cliche and trivial, but really it's actually the most important thing.
Yeah, an ill-disciplined mind outside of trading will bring an ill-disciplined mind inside of trading as well. So that discipline in trading probably affected the rest of your life, and the rest of your life affected your trading decisions as well.
100%.
And in terms of like, you mentioned about kind of helping others and the importance for you to see other people succeed. I mean, at Woke, we're in no abundance of successful traders and results, etc. Obviously with your own doing massively in that as well. How important to you was having a genuine community of traders that actually out there to help each other?
It's the most important thing. It is. And I've been, I think I was the 49th member, maybe 50th. And it's been like that since I started. It's been a community. It's been, everyone is there to help you. I don't think there's one person in that Discord that's full of themselves in any way, shape, or form. I think it is just, especially when you're in an environment where everyone wants to succeed and everyone's doing the same thing. It's almost like having a massive business and you're all focused on the same goal. And for that reason, you can just help each other, bounce off each other. And that ultimately is like, that's the most important thing for sure. That drives success, that drives friendships. It's snowball effect, and it just keeps going.
Because you're quite well networked even before you're in the mentoring role. You've got a lot of friends in Woke that you kind of created relationships before you were even in the position that you're in now.
Yeah.
And before you even had results, you had a lot of connections with a lot of people in the community. And I think having that kind of fruitfulness of community and also having people that actually have some know-how as well, that can also do very good technical analysis, that also have learned funding approach, that also have learned psychology and are on the same path or at the position that you're looking to go in the next few steps is super important. And I think, like I said, having the amount of funded traders, having the amount of people that have gone through the process and seen results. Obviously, you joined relatively early on, so there probably wasn't as many, only a handful because they've only been running for like a few months when you joined. Yeah. But compared to now, obviously, do you think that for a trader coming into WokeFX now, in my opinion, it's like this is the best time you can do it because of the amount 100%. Of success we've got. And do you think having that surrounding of like actual success is only going to make them better?
Yeah, for sure. It's the more success that people have here benefits the people that are coming in. It creates a new wave. It creates a new, it is snowball effect. Like bring people in, they get good. Next people come in.
And they help them get good as well.
They help them get good because, and this is what I say about the community. These people are fulfilled in the fact that they've got to this position in, some of these people are getting funded in 2, 3, 4, 5 months, which is unbelievable. Like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
it does.
It's not a case of like, it signals, it's past your prop or anything. This is their skill set that they've learned from the community.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think obviously a lot of that is credit to yourself as well. I mean, the amount of like your work rate in lives, etc., in going out of your way with people, making sure people are doing the right things and have clear direction. how important do you think to a new trader, because you just mentioned the pace of results, how different it is to pretty much everywhere else in the trading community. I personally credit that a lot to the amount of accountability yourself is giving to other traders. And that's very rare to find in the trading world. How much of a difference do you think that makes to traders' careers?
Literally too much difference. I think for me it was a bit of a weird one because I when I was learning, I didn't have one-to-one. I don't think, did we do one-to-ones back then?
We did, because it was a group you joined when it was like it was basically, just to give you guys a breakdown. We started the mentorship. I started WokeFX in my mum's garage. And initially I took on a few friends. Like I said, you came in at 50th or so.
Yeah.
So I'd already taken on quite a few people. And I kind of transitioned out of a monthly into like a one-to-one option.
Yeah.
And then because the monthly was just getting ridiculously big. And we had calls still quite a lot in terms of like, but it wasn't as educational as it is now at all. Because when someone joins the one-to-ones now, it's very much like intense. You're getting like individual attention going from like your problems, finding your solutions, etc. And that's obviously why I was here as well. In terms of when you're giving that to people, do you feel like, because I always say to someone, it's like you can learn from videos, you can learn from YouTube, you can learn from even live streams, you can learn from group calls, whatever it is. But to have a trader who's in the position that you're wanting to be in, go through and work through your individual data, your individual psychology, your individual bad habits, and give you valid solutions for yourself individually. Yeah. That's like the rarest thing you can find as a trader, as a beginner trader, as an intermediate trader, as anyone who's trying to get into the space. And I think having the fact that we've even been able to maintain that offer with how big we're growing and how much success we've seen and how many new people are wanting to join us is immense. And obviously that's why we're able to kind of build up the mentorship team again and kind of bring in, because I'm sure it will get bigger inevitably in the future. But I think that's something that really makes us unique. And I think obviously big credit to you because you've done an amazing job coming into it. And we've kind of created this new generation of traders within WokeFX, which is nuts. Yeah. In terms of where you see the community going, like obviously at the moment we're at, I think around 400 members and 200 of them being around 6-figure funded. So, which is nuts. Like I can't stress for prop firms, it's I think a 2% success rate to a payout or to that amount of funding. Yeah. And we've got 50% of the community at that stage. Obviously you've got to keep in mind people have only joined in like the last month or 2 months or 3 months. Like most people transparently aren't going to see results at least until they're 6 months in. Yeah, majority of people. So in terms of within Woke, where do you see us kind of going over the next few years? How many, like, what is our goal in your eyes?
Okay. I just want to spin it back and touch back on quickly. I'll go back to your point in a sec. We didn't have one-to-ones when I joined. And I think a lot of that, you mentioned there talking about people's journeys and how they're different and stuff like that. So for me, not having that one-to-one, not having that thing, like I benefit from one-to-ones a lot. Like I learn from people's experiences. I think that's the most important way that I learn, most valuable way. So I think going through that journey, almost like sort of on my own, I had the end of days and stuff like that, but we weren't as developed back there, I think, Woke. But I think it's that using that experience, that's the most valuable thing in terms of teaching traders and, because anyone can pick up technicals really quickly. I think that's it's pretty given. But it's about having that mindset, and I think that teaching from someone else who's, for me, it was a very hard journey for me generally, but I think a lot of people struggle with it as well. So I think having that,
accountability and know-how from someone who's actually experienced it, because you learn best from experiences. Definitely. Like, so even if someone else can experience it through you. So like when you talk about your journey, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of, I had to do this, I went through this. I had this direction and this helped and this didn't help. And this process is what I needed. This is what I didn't have. This is what I did have. And you're trying to provide everything that you did, like, or that a trader should have to give them the best results possible.
It's like that process of elimination. Like I went through what now might last, a couple of weeks for one of the new mentees coming in.
Might have taken you,
was 6 months for me, or 4 months for me, or getting past that hurdle and being able to condense that right down. So because, you know, if I see a patterns in someone's behavior when they're trading, I almost know where that's going to lead them in 2 months' time if they don't sort it out right now.
Because either you've done it or someone you've spoken to has done it.
For sure.
And it's weird because it's different for each trader. Like I keep saying, no two traders are the same. And it's like, I can think of millions of examples, not millions, but hundreds of examples in my head of where I've been teaching someone and their unique issues or strengths, weaknesses are so different to the next person I then jump on a call with.
Which will help them or hinder them compared to the next person.
Exactly. So you might say, I might give the exact same advice to two traders. For one person, it might make them 10 times better. For the other person, it might make them 10 times worse.
I agree.
So having that accountability from someone like yourself or me or another mentor within our team, in my opinion, it's kind of second to none in terms of education.
Sure.
I think as well, I mean, obviously, like I said, I know that one of the reasons why you're so successful within our group is because you don't attach you're not attached to money in terms of, you talked about a lot about more a case of wanting to work on something and be the best version of yourself. I think that's really rare to find in traders, like for them to actually want to just be better.
Yeah.
Rather than just like I want 20 million in funding or whatever it is, something ridiculous. I mean, I can think of people in mind that are currently labeling like, I'm not successful if I don't have $1 million past the end of this month.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why you won't achieve $1 million at the end of this month.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that you've got that a lot of traders don't have and you've learned for yourself. And it's also just a part of your personality, but you do a very good job in terms of giving that to other people and making sure that it's a realistic approach. And the goal is not to be X amount funded. The goal is to be the best trader you can be personally.
Yeah. I always use the analogy of, you know, you've got time and price on your axes. They're the things that control the charts, right? If you're putting time and price on your own trading, it's going to take much longer than you think. So it's about flowing, taking every day as it comes. If you're using time, I want to get there as quickly as possible. With price, I want funding this by this time. You've already lost the battle, really, because they're the two things that dictate how price moves generally in the market. So,
and in terms of, so you're obviously, you were in a position, not even a crazy, like, because we're talking about following the process here, and obviously getting results off the back end of that process. So, for example, you didn't see results for the first 2 years or so that you were in.
2 years,
And then it's a snowball effect because your mindset was, I need to constantly improve. I need to constantly work at this. I need to give it everything for as long as a period of time as I possibly can, probably for the rest of your life, realistically. And you're constantly improving, you're constantly developing as a trader. And it can be a very big snowball effect. It's like suddenly you're at this position where you're actually a very good trader and it's time to get aggressive. And suddenly you've gone from where you're at, working in co-op, not trading with a high amount of capital, to suddenly being 400k funded, WokeFX mentor, with the skill set that realistically there wasn't a huge difference between when you're at co-op because it was in such a short period of time. But the point that I'm trying to get at is like that skill set was being built that whole time. Results will sometimes come relatively quickly, but it's a build-up of the work that you took for years, if you get what I'm saying. So what would you say to a trader right now, going through that process, feeling that they're at a level, but not seeing the results to get there?
Double down 100%. If you're confident in your ability, I think there's a confidence switch that happens. You know, people always talk about when trading clicked. Trading will never click. I don't think it ever will.
Yeah, I agree.
It actually never will.
It's not like eureka.
Yeah. There's no moment where you're like, oh my God, I can trade. There's progressive moments that happen. Okay, so hold on to those moments. If you look in my journal, you see a tab on a page, say for example, September 16th, as an example. There'll be a tab that says, I did this, and then there won't be another tab for 4 months. And then there'll be another tab. I learned this. This is how I'm going to improve. And then I'm tracking my day to day, thinking I'm not making any progress. And then another tab appears. So I think it's that slow development. I think you just have to be patient. But when there will be a moment where you think, right, okay, I can do this now. And then it's almost about exposing yourself to that psychological element, I think is the main thing. Because when you're learning technicals, back testing, getting results in terms of you've got your data and stuff, there's no real psychological element to it. There's no, there's no pressure. There's no, you're not in the live markets for a start. Backtesting is a lot easier as well than trading live.
No patience in that testing. It's just, you can skip days or weeks or months if needs be.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think just, when you have that time, I think for me that the main turning point was understanding my model and having confidence in my model, and just understanding that my model is going to lose. There's no way about it. I've tested it so many times. It's impossible for me to see constant wins. It's literally impossible.
Win. Exactly.
It doesn't happen. When you get to that point, you can see your data. That's the main thing. Seeing it, I think, in front of you is so key. I've got a couple of people that have almost skipped that phase out and gone straight into challenges. And fair enough, but you can't actually see it in front of you. You don't actually know what it is you're going to expect. You don't know your expectancy of results or anything, and that's the most key thing. So I think when you have that data and you understand where that data is going to get you, that's when you should double down.
Awesome.
That's when you should, for me, it was, it took a long time to get to that point. And I think I extended my journey probably by a year by not being confident enough to send it.
I feel like I remember that period when you did. And I think I had the exact same. It was my 20th birthday. I remember knowing that I could do the things to get there. I just wasn't committed. I almost had a barrier in front of me that was saying
it's like an
you need more barrier. You need more proof, you need more proof, you need more data, you need more of this, or you need more results that aren't live capital, that isn't that isn't aggressive.
Imposter syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's okay, sometimes obviously time is of essence to a degree as well. Obviously you've got to be patient, you've got to be disciplined, you've got to be resilient, but at one point you will have the skill set, and having someone with it, whether it's a mentor, whether it's even a friend, or whether it's someone that just knows your journey, almost give you that kick up the arse and be like, mate, you can do it. Just go for all in, because you're doing that now with people. I've done that with a lot of people as well, and I think having that accountability is crucial as a trader to skip that year, because a year of good trading or a year of being aggressive when you've got the skill set is the difference between you making maybe your first 6 figures in that year compared to a whole year later. Imagine a whole year without an extra 6 figures. I'm just using 6 figures as an example, because that then compounds, and that money that then got started the next year can completely change the next year. Rather than making your first 6 figures the next year, you might move on to your first 500k. It can be a very like I said, it kind of snowball effect. If you start making action sooner, and you start taking the decisions that you need to take, and you know that you need to be taking because you're being told them by someone who's been in the position, then you'll get the results quicker.
For sure. And
you'll see a compound because of that. So in terms of obviously just to strip things back a little bit, because we've gone quite deep in terms of what changed in your journey to get you the results that you've gotten. But going back to that first decision to actually join, what would you say to someone that was in your position, maybe on the fence on getting started with trading, on the fence on getting started with education? What would you tell them, and what would you say for them to be their process, and if they're serious about doing it?
I would say that's your first decision in risk management, for sure, because you've got that moment right there is you have to understand that this is going to take some time, and it's not going to be quick results, and you're not going to suddenly be X amount wealthier than you were when you started. It's going to take time. But that first decision is your first decision in trading, for sure. And it will teach you a lot about, you make that decision, okay, you're now almost full ported on yourself. You have to do
it's
this.
A 1 to 100, isn't it?
100%. You have to just do it. I think if you're on the fence, I don't know why it is that people are on the fence generally. I don't know whether it's not trusting. I think the industry in that way is, I don't think it's a very trusted industry. I don't think. So I can understand why that decision is what it is. But I think, if I take it back to me, that decision didn't take long because I already knew Rob. So it was a very quick.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a case of, if you want to trade, if you've done your due diligence on the person, that's the main thing. It's like if you have done as much due diligence as possible on the group that you're learning from, the person that you're learning from, and if that all checks out, then being on the fence at that stage is really questioning your commitment to the process and your commitment to actually wanting to be a trader.
Yeah.
How much do you actually want the risk reward? Yeah. How much are you willing to take that first trade?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it might not work. You might take a loss and you might have to move on and try something else. But equally, if you never take that first trade, you're not looking at the potential reward of the trade as well. Yeah. If you're scared to take the risk in the first place, you're just as scared to take the reward.
Yep.
So it's kind of one of those things, because I had the same decision. I had to invest a lot of money into my education, and I stress I didn't learn from the best place in the world. And even though it wasn't the best place in the world, you could consider that a losing trade, but it wasn't, because taking that trade then set up the next trade and the next trade and the next trade and the rest of my life.
Yep.
But if you never get started, if you never knock down that first domino, nothing happens. You stay in the same place.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing that I say to people, and I think you can probably agree as well.
I think as well, it's like starting any business. Like at the end of the day, you're almost like a sole trader in a way. You know, we all have those ideas in the shower that are great and that we think we could make millions off, or whatever it is, and then you don't take action. You don't do anything about it. And I think that's a very, you know, I think that's that feeling of being scared, not wanting to take that risk. And ultimately, the reason I say that process of joining a mentorship and getting started on something you think might be good, you know, you don't know if it's going to be good. There's no way of knowing that you're going to be good at it.
Yeah.
But if you don't take the risk, you're never going to know.
It's either you spend the rest of your life thinking of what if I did that,
exactly,
or it's taking that action and knowing, like you say, did it work? Did it not? Has it changed your life? Because even if for me, like I said, there was such a small percentage of people that did make it work from the course that I learned from, where it's like, at least I know, like, that I've made it work, or that I didn't, and that I need to do something else, or I need to do this differently, or I need to learn from this person. And it's kind of a case of like, the more bets you're willing to take on yourself, the higher chance you're going to win at some point.
For sure.
And
keep doing it, keep making those bets, those delusional bets, and eventually
something
will happen. And it, you know, and you'll look back at those moments and you'll think, you know, what if I hadn't done that? Where would I be now? And I think that's, you know, for me, that's the thing I look back at is, if I hadn't done this, if I hadn't have done it when I did it, honestly, I have no idea where I'd be, for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's a good place to leave it, to be fair.
No idea.
I think I was going to say one more thing, but I think that's generally probably the best place to leave it. Because, like I said, your trajectory is now way more aligned with what you actually want to do in your life.
For sure.
But yeah,
it's exciting times.
Appreciate that, El. Big part of WokeFX. I'm sure anyone that's obviously joining or even just watching along on YouTube, etc., you're going to get to know Elliot very, very well. Yep. He's a massive part of our community and a huge valued member of our team. But yeah,
thanks so much. Happy to be here.
That's Mr. Elliot Hemmings.
Cheers, guys.
Cool.